Hello all, I'm tribalkai and welcome to the EDH channel. Today's video is brought to you by Deja Shade. If you'd like to support the channel as well, then you can follow the link in the description below to Patreon. Failing that, you can always like, comment and subscribe, which helps the channel with YouTube's algorithms. Now, let's have a look at everyone's opening hands. Today we will be playing Araumi of the Dead Tide. A good start for us, we've got pretty much everything we could want: a sack outlet, some ramp, a couple of lands, and a tutor, as well as a thing that we would probably tutor for at some point. Yeah, very good hand to start off with for us. Up next is Drone of War with Hamza. And he's going to have a decently quick start himself by the looks of it. Exploration, drops 2 lands and then a 3rd land on turn 2, maybe a 4th one. He'll just have to hope that he can get into a lot of creatures with plus counters for that inspiring call to refill his hand. Then we've got Go-Go Batman going aggro with Gallia. And that's a decent hand as well, getting out 3 creatures by turn 2, thanks to the cheap mana cost on those. Mana Gorger Hydra should get big in no time flat, and then Champion of Lambhole in the mid to late game should allow him to Alpha Strike if he manages to dodge board wipes. Then finally we've got Bootleg Greedo on the Dragon. And it's going to be a slow start from Greedo, unfortunately, but you'd expect that from the Dragons player. They want to just ramp in the early game and then vomit a load of dragons onto the board, so with a bunch of his colours in hand I can see why he keeps that. Skyshroud Claim, probably only on turn 4, but gets him into even more colours there. He just needs to get into the long game with this one. Now, let's see how it plays out. An exploration on turn 1 from Drone of War, so getting 2 lands into play. And it's a Toxic Deluge for us. I don't think we particularly care about Entomb. Oh, maybe we could go for Stinkweed Imp. Yeah, let's go for a Swamp and we can Entomb for Stinkweed Imp. And now Arboreal Grazer and Memnite coming down for Go-Go. Then Drone getting down Walking Ballista for 2 mana. We'll just go Entomb now and pass through the rest of the turn. And then an Endless one for Drone as well, going down to 3 cards in hand. Then we'll dredge the Stinkweed Imp on our turn and we'll play the Mind Stone. We'll have to shock in the Shockland. And we milled only 1 creature in Nascent Metamorph. Got rid of some lands and a Rhystic Study. Reliquary Tower for Bootleg Greedo, who just taps out and passes. And down comes Gallia. So with 3 cards in hand, Gallia turns everything in sideways. Gallia's coming in at us. The Memnite coming in at us. Yeah, everything coming in towards us here. They discarded a Mana Gorger Hydra at random. Then playing Goblin Guide at the end of the turn. So I assume that that's what they drew into off of the Hydra. Hamza coming down already, so it might be that we have to go for Toxic Deluge to try and slow this game right down. It's only turn 3 and we're already facing a decent board state. Screeching Scab will mill us a couple of cards and we need to get into a land anyway, so yeah, let's go for the Toxic Deluge and then maybe we can go Thran Dynamo next turn if we're lucky. So putting 5 mana into Toxic Deluge, or 5 life even, 3 mana. And that should wipe the board nicely. Sacrificing the Walking Ballista and dealing 1 damage to Go-Go before it goes down. Kodama's Reach from Greedo, the board wipe playing into his hands nicely. A Findhorn Elves for Go-Go, and then a Dolmen Gate. That's a really good one, so they can just turn everything in sideways without even thinking about it. Down to only 2 cards in hand though. Skyshroud Claim for Drone. And then tapping out and passing with 3 cards left in hand, we get into the land we needed, so let's go for this Thran Dynamo. Might just be able to hardcast the Massacre Worm after all this. Let's go Altar of Dementia as well, might as well get that into play. Saves us casting it later. Sky Shroud claim coming from the Dragons player now as well. And I do wish they'd print this with a new frame on Magic Online. There is I think it's a Battle Bond version of this. There is a version of it with a new frame anyway. But you can't get it on Magic Online, annoyingly. Well, still good cards coming from Gogo. Champion of Lamholt now. So I think Massacre Worm is going to be a really good one for us to cast next turn. And then Ubermauled Hydra, there's a good one. A 6/6, they can search for a land and put it straight into play. And an Agent of Treachery for us. That is 7 mana. Which we can afford. I don't think there's anything in particular I want to steal though. Yeah, let's just go for the Massacre Worm. And that gets rid of Gogo's things, which will lose them 4 life in total. And Greedo quietly continuing to drop mana over there. Now an Elemental Bond to keep them up on cards when they start spitting dragons into play. And then just tapping out and passing, so deciding not to play a dragon on us. Maybe they couldn't afford the dragon, they had 5 mana left up I think. The Dorks continuing to come out. Paradise Druid from Gogo now. I think we'll leave Gogo alone and start swinging in at the Ur Dragon. Depends on what Ubermauled Hydra does here though. They went for Gavany Township I think with Ubermauled Hydra by the way, I didn't look at that before. And Zendikar Resurgent, that might be one that's worth stealing with the Agent of Treachery. We'll see if they want to swing in at us with the Hydra. We could put Stinkweed Imp in front of the Hydra, I suppose. And the 8/8 holds back, so that's good. And that is Frantic Search for us. We untap all the lands, don't we? Yeah, so let's go Frantic Search. Try and get into a land. Alright, getting into a land. Yeah, so I think we discard Stinkweed Imp and the Propaganda. Might regret getting rid of Propaganda. Yeah, let's go Screeching Scab because Stinkweed Imp is going to be our self-mill, I think. Then we'll untap all 3 of our lands. Play the Ancient Tomb. And then go in for the Agent of Treachery and we'll take that mana doubler away. Yeah, so missing blue unfortunately. I would have liked to get down our commander here, but nah, not to worry. I think it might be worth blocking the Agent of Treachery, or blocking the Ubermauled Hydra with Agent of Treachery, so let's just go in at Greedo for some damage. Oftentimes the dragon players are left well alone, because they don't do anything but ramp and they don't look very threatening. So we'll lay on some damage here while we can. Looks like the Ur Dragon might be coming down from Greedo. Nope, it is Maelstrom Wanderer, Cascade twice. Getting into a Dragon Lord Ataka, which will enter and draw them a card. It will also deal some damage to things. I think it's 5 damage divided as you choose. Yeah, between creatures and or planeswalkers that opponents control, so they can't target their own stuff, which might be relevant in very niche scenarios. Pointing it all at Massacre Worms, so we will sacrifice that and point the self-mill at ourselves. So we mill 6 here. We milled Ravenous Chupacabra, Liliana, Doomwake Giant, Demonic Tutor and some lands. Then the second cascade is Dragon Speaker Shaman, making dragons cost less, and all of their stuff is going to have haste here, don't forget. And then Maelstrom Wanderer enters and takes them up to 6 cards in hand. Well, at least one of them was always going to come in at us, I think. Yeah, the 8/8 going in at the Ubermauled Hydra. They're deciding not to block here. I think we just take the 7 from the Maelstrom Wanderer. Legion War Boss from Gogo, managing to stay in creatures nicely. And then attacking the Dragon player with both of those. So they probably just chump block a Goblin. And yeah, chump blocking the Goblin token. But no damage is dealt to the Goblin token thanks to the gate. Drone of War continuing to hold back the 8/8, probably thanks to the Dragon player. 3 cards in hand and a bunch of mana, so I dare say they're just holding up Gavany Township. Maybe some removal, fight card, something like that. Anyway, it's back round to our turn. We will dredge the Stinkweed Imp, because if we cast the Stinkweed Imp into Zendikar Resurgent, we'll still draw a card. So let's do that right now. Draw with the Zendikar Resurgent. Okay, that's Malakir Rebirth. It could also be a land. It's really in here to protect our commander. Speaking of which, let's go for our commander. And playing that, we'll draw as a card as well. Okay, Arcane Signet. I think it's just Propaganda then. We'll try and make it more difficult for the dragons to swing in at us. Let's drop the Arcane Signet. And if we decide that we want to crack the Mind Stone, we can do it at the end of someone's turn. Let's just leave the Stinkweed Imp in the way with its Sword of Death Touch. Didn't look at what we dredged either. A land, a Signet, Stitcher's Supplier, a Lantern, and a Wormcoil Engine. Might need to make use of the lifelink on that Wormcoil Engine. In fact, getting a bunch of Wormcoils next turn sounds like a good idea. Farseek from Greedo. And then the Dragon comes down. That is a 10/10 with haste. And they can cheat, probably cheat some dragons into play here as well with 5 cards in hand. Now 6 from the enchantment. And they can't swing in at us thanks to the Propaganda, so it's already doing a good job for us. Trying to swing in the Ataka at us, but forgetting about the tax. The Maelstrom Wanderer goes in at go-go. Dragon goes into Drone of War, so trying to spread the damage around. Deciding to just leave the Ataka back in that case. And that triggers the Dragon, which cheats a permanent into play. That is Frontier Siege. And they name cards with that, which means they get some free green mana during the main phase. Deciding to block the 10/10 with Ubermauled Hydra now. And in response, going Gavany Township, which only makes it a 9/9. But then drawing a card for each creature you control with a plus counter on it, and they gain Indestructible, so blocking the Dragon damage, they keep the Ubermauled Hydra, and they draw a card in this instance. And the 7 points of Maelstrom Wanderer damage goes through to go-go. Ferocity of the Wilds. Attacking non-human creatures you control get trample and +1 to their attack. Made me worry there. He turned everything in sideways at us and then he's pulled back here. But forgetting about the Propaganda, so people wanting rid of us, the Propaganda is going to be really good apparently. Turning in towards the what they consider the next threat, which is the Dragons player. Blocking the Goblin, the Legion War Boss, with the 8/8 Dragon Lord Ataka. Now Emil the Blessed. Lots of combos you can get going with Emil. Exile another creature you control, yeah, so they could just do that to the Ubermauled Hydra. And they've got the mana to still have a plus counter put on it. So it's likely that they'll do that in response to attacks towards them, because it will save the Ubermauled Hydra. Now then, do we want to sacrifice the Stinkweed Imp and dredge it? Yeah, we'll go for it. Let's mill ourselves with Stinkweed Imp. It draws us a card, like I said, and we've got double mana now anyway. It's just one more chance for us to get into a land with that. We mill the Talisman of Dominance, so getting rid of all of our cheap ramp spells. Drawing at the beginning of the turn, dredge the Stinkweed Imp again. And that time it was a Fetto Alchemist. So going for a Fetto Alchemist, we might be able to abuse something here. We'll get the Alchemist into play. Let's get rid of some lands per opponent we have, which is obviously 3 at the moment. Then we can cast the Alchemist, which gives us a bunch of those. So then we can untap our commander with one of them. And do we just want to go Agent of Treachery here? I think I might. So let's go like that. Point the 2 mil at ourselves. I do want to get life back with the Worm Coil Engine, but dealing with our opponent's board and setting up our own board is a good idea with the Agent of Treachery, so let's go for that here. Get rid of some lands again. And then we can cast Agent of Treachery, which brings it back with Encore. So we get to steal 3 things, and we'll start drawing cards here as well. Let's steal the... Maybe we just steal all these things. Yeah, let's try and slow the Dragon player right down. Give our stuff haste with the Maelstrom Wanderer. And then we can untap our commander with the Alfetto Alchemist again. And we haven't managed to make a land this turn, unfortunately, so... Yeah, I think the more intelligent thing to do is go Ravenous Chupacabra. So we'll go like that for the Ravenous Chupacabra. Get 3 copies of that thing as well. And then it can be a meal we'll point it at. Get rid of... Yeah, I think getting rid of the Legion War Boss would be a good idea. And we'll get rid of the Dragon Speaker Shaman. I think they're going to flicker this in response anyway, so I don't think there's much point in us wasting the Ravenous Chupacabra on that. We're forcing their hand by targeting a meal anyway. So the Dragon Speaker goes down, the Goblin goes down. And in response, Drone is doing exactly what we thought he'd do and flickering the Uvenwald Hydra. Deciding to put the mana into that and put a plus counter on it. Now searching for a land. And then before attacks we might as well untap the Dragon so that we can swing in with it. Alright, so that has to go in at Bootleg Greedo. That has to go in at Go-Go. That has to go in at Drone. And then the same again with these 3. And then we can go Greedo and Greedo for the dragons. Could hold those back as blockers, but yeah, that's probably an intelligent thing to do, is leave one back as a blocker. Yeah, let's just hold back the Dragon Lord. We've only got 1 permanent to get in play with the Dragon anyway. Alright, Rivet of Tears. We could use... How do we get the black mana on that? Yeah, we don't have black mana for this anyway. So let's just go Stinkweed Imp, and that can be a blocker as well. Was going to try and take out Greedo there, but I think we'll give him another turn here. Blocking with the Uvenwald Hydra, might as well. Oh, and the land they went for, keep forgetting about this. They went for Nykthos, Shrine to Nyx, taking Greedo down to 10, so we couldn't have gotten him with the Dragon Lord Ataka anyway. Let's play the Rivet of Tears. And I think that can be our turn. So we'll draw a bunch of cards with the Agent of Treachery. 3 cards from that one, 3 cards from another one. One of them went down in combat, don't forget. And we're getting 2 Deceiver Exarch. We've got Cabal Coffers there, not any Urborgs in sight, unfortunately. Gravebreaker Lamia isn't terrible, though. Having to sacrifice all of our tokens there. So now we just need to hope that we can leave this thing in play, because I would really like to go for Worm Coil Engine next turn, because we're at a dangerously low life total. Drakuseth Maw of Flames, and it's fingers crossed that there is no haste coming in, because that'll be able to get our blockers out of the way. 4 damage to any target, and then 3 damage of up to each of 2 other targets. And that is a Karthus. And other dragon creatures you control have haste. That might be the end of us then. I think we were between a rock and a hard place there, to be honest, because we had to deal with the dragons. Oh, and of course they gain control of all their dragons as well. Whoops, should have sacrificed those. I mean, we're done here anyway. But yeah, had to deal with the dragon board And that didn't leave us with enough mana for Wormcoil Engine, unfortunately. Would really have liked to have gone for that, because it would have gained us a lot of life. But I'm not too sure. It probably would have helped us there, actually. Might have to use the Malakir Rebirth on the Stinkweed Imp. Although we can't do that, thanks to River of Tears. So how much damage can the Dragon player deal now? Oh, surprisingly, just attacking with one creature. I thought we were definitely done for there. So that is 3 damage to us, 3 damage to the Stinkweed Imp, and 4 to our commander. And this is where it's relevant that that doesn't make black mana at the moment. Might have to take that out because that takes us off a turn with Malakir Rebirth. First time playing the deck, so these are the little intricacies that we need to iron out. Should have sacrificed those to Altar of Dementia as well. Then cheating into play a Savage Ventmore. And that is swinging in at Drone of War, by the way. Oh, but of course they didn't turn everything sideways at us. Yeah, Propaganda saving us several times over here. Yeah, totally forgot about Propaganda again. Gallia coming back into play again, so we know we're not being swung into. Because they don't have the mana for even one Propaganda cost. Gavany Township putting in plus counter on Overmauled Hydra. They might turn that in at us. Knock us down to 3. And they are doing that. A Soul Warden for Drone of War. Although we've got haste with Maelstrom Wanderer, haven't we? Forgot about that. So we can recast our commander. And it has haste, which is probably going to be relevant here. Let's dredge the Stinkweed Imp again. 46 cards left in the library. And we get rid of Broodbirth Viper, which has Myriad. And that just draws us a bunch of cards. There's Kakusho as well. Yeah, I don't know if we can afford all of this, unfortunately. Yeah, okay. Let's definitely go for our commander before anything else. And that draws us a card with the mana doubler. Then if we go Cabal Coffers here, we've got a couple of swamps in play. We get 4 mana from the Cabal Coffers if it gets doubled up, which it should do, I think. Whenever you tap a land for mana... it's not a mana doubler, glad I checked that. It's a mana doubler in most cases, but not specifically a mana doubler. So we go... Yeah, we want to make use of Deceiver Exarch as well, I think, so let's go after the Wormcoil Engine. Exile land, same as always. And then play the Wormcoil Engine with Encore. Then we'll play a Swamp. Deceiver Exarch would leave us with 4 mana. Is there anything we care about grabbing with Deceiver Exarch? Maybe we just try our luck with Nascent Metamorph. Yeah, I think we have to maybe throw out Stinkweed Imp to block with. Yeah, let's throw out the Stinkweed Imp, which draws us into a land. Finally getting into the lands. Went a few turns without dropping lands there. Now we can't seem to draw anything but. Yeah, okay, I think we'll just have to rely on Wormcoil Engine here. Or try to. That has to go in at Greedo. That has to go in at Go-Go. And that has to go in at Drone. So we gain 18 life here. Not sure it's going to be enough because the Dragons player probably remembers about Propaganda next turn. Savage Ventmore goes down to the Wormcoil Engine. Anything that blocks Wormcoil Engine goes down to it. Yeah, so we only go up to 19 there. We can block the Dragon with Stinkweed Imp. We can protect the Stinkweed Imp with the Malakir Rebirth. Because this will probably shoot it. Yeah, don't see much of anything else we can do there, unfortunately. So let's get our Wormcoil Engine triggers. Once they're sacrificed, we get a 3/3 Death Toucher and a 3/3 Lifelinker per Wormcoil that dies. So that is 3 of each. And then I'll just discard a fetch at the end of the turn. Some free mana from Frontier Siege to start things off with. Oh, Mirari's Wake, that's not good. 7 cards in hand over there. I think this is the Dragon player's game to win. This is where we get punished for not sacrificing the Ataka and the Dragon, because I was F6 through the turn. Rishkar's Expertise, they'll draw 11 cards here and get a free spell. That casts them a Generous Gift, so just getting rid of the Propaganda, which likely gets rid of us. Now Lathless Dragon Queen. And they go up to 15 cards in hand. 9 mana available thanks to the mana doubler. Then Bladewing the Risen. And they are returning the Savage Ventmaw. And the Savage Ventmaw will have haste thanks to the, where is it? Thanks to the Karthus. Lathless will give them a 5/5 dragon token. So I think even if I'd played really, really well this game, which I haven't thanks to it being a new deck, but I think even if I'd played really, really well, I don't think we would have won this one, so that is some solace for me at least. Right, so how has he attacked? That is going in at Drone of War. That is going in at Drone of War. Lathless is as well. So is the Savage Ventmaw. So is the Karthus. And the Drakuseth. Hang on. And the Dragon. And the Ataka, according to this. That can't be right. Surely he's attacking us with something. Alright, well, Drakuseth on the stack. It points 4 damage at Drone of War, 3 at the Soul Warden, and 3 at the Imp. Then Dragon gets to put something into play. Savage Ventmaw gets them a bunch of mana as well. I think we don't really care about the Imp then, do we, if they're not swinging in at us? Let's check this. Oh, there we go. Yeah, the damage is being... Yeah, the client was being weird there. So that is who's being attacked by what, if you care enough to pause it and have a look. So in that case, let's go for the Malakir Rebirth. Yeah, the client told me that everything was going in at Drone of War there. So this probably won't help us, but we'll try and keep the Imp in play. Lose 2 life, and that will survive the burn. Oh, but it comes into play tapped. Alright, so that's definitely not going to help us then. These are the kinks that I need to iron out of the deck. I don't know if there's any of those death-defying spells that bring it in untapped, but that's actually relevant in this case. Cheating into play, a Hellkite Overlord. And that gives them another token with the Lathless. So let's see if they've got us here. I imagine they've planned it out to perfection. I don't know if we could have blocked with the Stinkweed Imp actually, yet another mistake. I imagine they accounted for the Stinkweed Imp when they swung in though. There we go, now it's telling us where it's swinging in. So we're getting a 9/9, a 5/5, and a 5/5. Oh really? So if that's the case, we could have survived there. Yeah, that is 10 damage, and that's 9. Oh, how annoying. Yeah, so we could have survived there, had it not been for the fact that that thing comes in tapped. Apologies for that. Oh, but then they've got mana to pump this anyway, so yeah, we were probably going down. Like I said, this is bootlegs to win.
You're losing.
Yeah, it's a new deck, so I'm just I'm just still wrapping my head around it all. Oh, but he got rid of us all in one fell swoop, so that's good. We all went down to a big pile of dragons. So, yeah, that's good. A big dragon orgy.
Dragon Fest.
It's a dragon fest. Yeah, so good game to Bootleg Greedo, who managed to take us out there. I'm not sure if we could have survived with that flyer there. I have a feeling that we could have done. I hope that we couldn't, because we might have been able to get them on the swing back there with Kakusho or something. Anyway,
Bootleg.
I will try to play this deck again at some point in the near future and wrap my head around the interactions more. This is a new deck that I just quickly built before playing it here, so apologies to any of you that wanted to see Ironclad gameplay, but you'll have to watch the next video for that. I'm tribalkai on the EDH channel. Thank you for watching.
Bye.
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 Bye, Bootleg.
Bye. What about the other two?
Well, are they patrons? I don't
They're
care.
all
if they're
patrons.
not. Oh, well, I do
They don't-
then. Go. Oh, yeah, I've heard you talk about him. And Drone of War. Yeah, I've heard you talk about all of them. That's all right then. Love you. That's great. That's bloody great. Do you want anything from the petrol station? I'm going getting milk and bread, seeing as though you've not got off your fat ass from here and gone and got some.
Bye, everyone. Alright, just jumped into the deck list again quickly just to have a root through things that I might want to change. Where is it? Malakir Rebirth brings it back into play tapped. The other one I was thinking of was Supernatural Stamina, which actually brings it in tapped as well. There is the Undying one, and I don't think that specifies, Undying Evil. When it dies, if it had no plus counters on it, return it to the battlefield under its owner's control with a plus counter on it. I thought that specified non-human, because most creatures that have Undying are non-human, and cards like Machias, the Unhallowed, say non-human, but yeah, I think I might actually replace the Malakir Rebirth with that then. It's nice to have the option for another land. I really didn't want to miss land drops, which we did in the early game, so that's why I put 38 in here. I think Undying Evil will be better in that slot because it brings back the Stinkweed Imp unblocked in that scenario. Really don't want to look at the edit there because I think we might have thrown the game away by bringing that in tapped. But like I said, it's the first time I played the deck, so I'm not going to blame myself for that. Then I have also added a Snapcaster Mage, because if we mill our artifacts, more importantly the Mesmeric Orb, then I want to be able to cast these things from the graveyard. Panharmonicon would be really good as well from the graveyard. Propaganda we could fish out, all off the back of Yawgmoth's Will. If we mill the Yawgmoth's Will, then we can cast it with the Snapcaster Mage by just exiling 2 cards with our commander and then casting Snap Mage and go for Yawgmoth's Will as well as whatever else that we want to go for with the copies. So I'm not sure what we take out for that. Let me have a look. It's noteworthy that Emery is in here to fish out artifacts as well, by the way. I'm not sure if we're going to have time to go for much counter magic, to be honest. We might have to just go with 1 counter spell in Mana Drain. Might even get rid of Mana Drain, to be honest, and just have no counter magic. Because I'm just noticing that somehow we don't have Gary either. I thought I'd added Grey Merchant of Asphodel, but apparently not. That would have been really good. Another means of life gain. Yeah, Grey Merchant of Asphodel. We'll go with the original artwork. Yeah, so maybe we just go down a Mana Drain here and definitely have the Grey Merchant of Asphodel in. If we get 3 copies of that, 1 per our opponent, then each of them will drain our opponents for 6 life at least. We'll probably have our commander in place, so it'll be 7 life each, which is obviously 21 points of life, and that assumes that there aren't any other black pips in play. And I think until I've played it again, I'm going to leave it there. I'm trying to put effects onto creatures for entering the battlefield, like Shadowborn Demon, is a means of destroying a creature, same as Ravenous Chupacabra. I don't have the Black Gear Hulk in here. And then there's cards that enter, or creatures that enter and draw us cards, preferably loot, so that we can discard big creatures and cast them from the graveyard. Cards like Muldrifter allows us to draw cards. Master of the Winds is draw and discard. Bizarre Trade Mage is the same thing. So yeah, that's the aim anyway. I'll just make those 2 small edits for now. See if we can make do without the counter magic. I just think that we're going to want to concentrate on getting our commander into play and then keeping it in play with something like Undying Evil. It was recommended to me by one of the patrons that I remove cards like this, but I think if this commander gets more of a reputation, which it will do in games like this, then it's just going to get removal pointed at it. And yeah, I think it's just a cheaper way to keep your commander in play than counter magic, although counter magic's more versatile. So yeah, I'm not sure. You can let me all know what you think in the comments section if you've made it this far. Big thank you to you all for watching. I'm tribalkai on the EDH channel. Thank you for watching.